Welcome to Young Climber. This is a show where we cover the entrepreneurial journey of young people in the Kingdom of Eswatini. We bring them to you so they share their journeys in their careers, their lives, and what they do on a daily basis. Today we are joined by Smilwesihle, who talks about her journey as a wife, a mom, an influencer, and most importantly, her life as a financial analyst. She gets to share her story and inspire the young individuals in the Kingdom of Eswatini. My name is, of course, Tavelo Dlamini, and let's get climbing. And with that said, let us dive into her journey. Joining me right now is, of course, Smile. She wears multiple hats. She is here to tell her story and, of course, how she is a successful financial analyst amongst many other things. Smile, welcome to Young Climber.
Thank you so much, Tavelo, for having me today. I must say I have a bit of nerves, but I guess we can dive in.
Yes.
Smile, I grew up in Matapa.
Yeah.
My whole life, I think I went to school, primary school in Matapa, high school in Matapa, and eventually tertiary in Matapa as well. So growing up, Matapa is like Kasi, Sketo. So I grew up, and my parents, my dad to be specific, was very like uptight. We'd just literally come back from school and he'd be calling our helper, would say, are they back? When he's back, he should be the last man getting into the house. So growing up like that, I think it helped me to be, I think, a principled person. And then eventually, I think as well, finishing school and then going to tertiary. Of course, when I got to go to tertiary, I told my parents, no, I need to stay on campus, even though it was like literally, I don't know, a walking distance.
So close to home.
So then I stayed on campus, and then I think that's where the Smile that you see today came about.
Yeah, and you know, you've already mentioned a bit of your education, but can we go into detail in regards to your educational background and how it has contributed to your career, starting off from high school? Now, Keta, your subjects, what were you hoping to be? What would say, by financial analyst. Let's talk about your educational background.
Thank you. So you'd be surprised, Guti, in high school, I was more sciences.
Oh, okay.
I was even part of the students who were doing science projects, science club. I think most of my teachers thought I'd be a science person. And my basbuta vele, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'd usually say I want to be a scientist.
Look at you.
So then I think it was in Form 5. Where I used to get level A's in sciences and stuff, and then I think we had like a career expo in Form 5, and then we had some of the companies locally coming in, telling us what they do. And then what caught my eye that day was a gentleman who said he was a financial analyst, and he was starting to becoming a chartered financial analyst. And then I took it upon myself to then like go to the internet, research financial analyst. What do they get to do? How do you get to even be that? And then I think that was when I said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is the me that I want to see in the future. But of course, I think the economy here, you don't just finish high school, finish varsity, and then say get a job as a financial job that you want. Of course, I had to start in more accounting kind of background, and then which I think also helped me in then developing into working in the financial space.
Okay. Now we talk about Smile as a financial analyst, but what are the details of being a financial analyst? I think when we match to finances, we can match it to an accountant mostly, just that. What does a typical 8 to 5 for a financial analyst look like? What does it entail? What are the details of the job? Kahle kahle ngicela job description yakho.
Thanks. So becoming, I know most people buy who buy accountant.
Yes.
Because an accountant is that person in a company, lo danindele finances, financials,
Yeah.
prepare vele agcine afike to the eventual financial performance of that specific company.
Yes.
So what financial analysts do is then analyze that. Financial analysts basically assita the accountants, assita the board in making like strategic decisions. Because, for example, if a company is to sit down and do like a 5-year strategic plan, funeka kube nama-analysts that will analyze where do we see the company with that current economy. Siboni ihamba njani? Is the revenue going to grow? Is it going to, that is what we get to do on a daily basis.
Okay. And now you recently switched jobs, from one to the other, and you did speak briefly about the fact that the previous job wasn't so much the future you that you imagined, but now that you're in the position that you imagined yourself to be in, how has this, contributed to your career development? Yini lo wayifunza ngale lo soyisebenzisa ngala? Yes.
So I think even my previous job,
Yeah.
as I said earlier, it did like help me, because if you've prepared Lama financials, you are in a better position to then review,
Of course,
and then model or stress test if this happens, what's going to happen in that revenue line, in that cost line, for example. So when I finished varsity, in varsity I did a bachelor's in accounting and finance. And then I later on did a financial modeling and valuations certification, which helped me learn how to develop models, how to stress test for different scenarios. Would say, for example, if a company, if una utata a loan, for example, we know that there's a lot of things that get into the loan. It's not just me getting money, and then it's you getting money, but there's interest rates that are involved. There's a lot. So ka finance, we then get to say if the interest rates are donuga in the long run, how is that going to impact that company? How is it? But in
the long run, of course.
So there's a lot that economics is involved, because you need to know what's happening in the economy, and you need to be able to connect forecast that it's okay, next year what's going to be happening.
Yes.
3 years time, what's going to be happening. Of course, I'm not there yet, but I think with time,
bit by bit, And we did mention the fact that you wear multiple hats. Now we are shifting to your life as an influencer. You have great social media ratings and a great following. With that said, can we talk about your life as an influencer and some of your highlights, work that you've done on social media?
So me, as I think most people, maba kamangamine, or when my name is raised, they think more of Smile as the influencer, more than what I get to do in the corporate space, I think. So in the influencer world, I think my highlights that I can pinpoint to, I think I've worked with, I can't say company names, ouch, but I think I've worked with brands from retail, mobile networks. I think I'm happy to that regard. I think starting off as an influencer, especially in Eswatini, can be a very tricky. It can be very difficult, especially anywhere you still don't know your worth. My engagement company is to know we want you to do this for us. Sometimes you really want to get the gig.
Yeah.
And then even when they want to give you imali that they can't give to someone else, but with time, I think with experience, then you get to know when to say no. I think as an influencer, this is me, but this is not me.
Yes.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
Because a bigger part of being influencer is your audience relating to what you do and to your content. More specifically, because sometimes a brand that you really do not align with, it will approach, it's Kosendeli video, doing this and that.
Yeah.
And then you're there thinking, Smile and this, but I want the money, but you know.
Yeah.
So a big part of it, you need to know when to just say, no, I'm sorry, I can't.
All righty. Thank you so much, Smile. We will take a short break, but when we return, we unpack your life as a wife and a mom and as that family brand. But we do continue to talk about your life as a financial analyst when we return. We continue to unpack the life of Smilwesihle Ndlandla as she tells us about her life as a mother right now. Can we move on over to your life as a mom and as a married woman, of course, a wife? Let's talk about the role of your husband in your job and, of course, your life as an influencer. How has it contributed to you being a success and his support, of course?
So I got married quite young. I think my colleagues bahlale bathi hayi washa danje aqedza kungena club, like they always say waphuma clubbing at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So I got married young. So, and in the midst of that, I had, I think, kids young as well. I had my kids 2 years, I think 2-3 years after I got married.
Yeah.
Which was around 24, 25 years. So when you're young, it's a bit difficult sometimes to then know what to do and what not to do. But I think having a supportive partner has really helped me in looking like a success.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think there's a point in life where you feel like, okay, I'm a perfect mother.
Yes.
And Yonkin Vongenda as planned. So I think he has played a bigger role in me looking like a success.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you need that person that's going to say, Lala, I'm going to take care of the kids. Someone who's going to remind you that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Someone who's going to remind you to know okay, being a mother has come, but that's not what you've always wanted. So continue pursuing your dreams, apply for that job, you know, do the things that you love. You love going out, so go out, do whatever that you like. So,
And then how do you manage all of this, you know, being a mom, being an influencer, having a job in corporate? How do you then juggle it into one? Do you have a life outside of those three things?
I do have a bit. I do have a bit of life outside of it. But sometimes I think as an influencer, sometimes uber tempted to post only the good moments and then not like the difficult moments where you're feeling like, okay, I'm tired, it's up here. But those moments are there where you feel like, okay, I've had enough. But I think it goes back to that supportive partner where you then it's okay, now she's tired, shame. Let me just take the kids home so she can have time to herself a bit. I think, so it's more than supportive husband. I think it also has to do with supportive family.
Yes. Your surroundings.
Yeah.
And with all of that experience, I can say, you then went over to establish an event called the Married Girls Luncheon. What inspired you to come up with such a concept? And, you know, what are some of the key topics that you addressed at this event?
So, being married young, I think what I've learned is that I've been married 6 years now. So, what I've learned in my 6 years of being married is that there's things that you go through sometimes that you don't even have to go through because someone else have been down that road before. And them not sharing their experiences, I don't want to come and no, so that's what brought about the Americans Luncheon, whereby I wanted to create a space for women to just sit down, chill, bang about kids, their partners or anything. They just sit down and learn about things that are going to help them in the long run. So we've heard 2 luncheons. Last year and this year. I think our common topics was credit management, finding yourself, and then I think we've also talked about
digital
entrepreneurship, friendships, relationships. Yeah, because I think sometimes when you get married, back Chela would say, now your husband is your only friend, which which okay, it works, but not so well. Really you need people. You don't get rid of your friends because you pull it through the long way. So I think creating relationships and maintaining relationships outside your husband is also very critical.
And you know, we're growing up in such a different time. You know, we definitely need influence from young people like you that have gone through this journey to help us as well, you know, in this time. You collaborated in this event with the Wompact Foundation on the Married Girls Luncheon. We did speak briefly about it. Can you talk about that collaboration, how it came about, and what impact it had specifically on the event?
So it's funny how myself and Wompact met because I think they were launching some event and then they approached me, Bati, Smile, please come do this for us. And then I was like, Nabasakaza, what they wanted to achieve, that Ngabona to know this aligns with my event and what I want to achieve in that event. So I was no guys, there's this event that I also have that we can do after we do your thing. So and I think I was lucky enough for them to just take it up, roll with it, and then in the process, banga rolly with it, kubeng their own thing. I think Alina, and I think really going forward they will form a bigger part of it because I think we align well, our values align.
And now, what advice would you give to young professionals looking to, you know, pursue their careers in, you know, any field, and of course how they can juggle multiple roles? Because hey, you know, I saw a little meme later again, Nyalo, you need a job for yourself and a job to pay bills. How can you juggle multiple roles, and what advice would you give to young people looking to go into the financial space?
I mean, young people. So basically I think as someone look at Zagu graduator from varsity, you need to know what you want. But know what you want, you also need to know what you can't start where you want to start. So you need to start somewhere and try to excel in that space, because it's in that space that you are then going to grow and become Lulofuna Bangigo. I think my short story would be that when I did my internship, my first company, they no, you need to excel so that they call you back more and all that. So I tried to do that. So I got there, feeling hard, and then it worked for me because when I finished my internship, bangitshela ukuthi no, we know ukuthi emvasi vele maseni ka 4th year you don't have classes every day. So that usually we have classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursdays and Fridays you work on your project.
Okay.
So basically, but no, kulo Thursday and Friday you should come.
Siyaqasha.
Kulo Thursday and Friday. So that's how it started. And then eventually man graduated, but no, come full time, permanent. And so for someone who's young and wants to try to make it in the corporate space, try to give it your best shot. Mouse and the internship, try to love what you do and just give it your best shot.
And now, you know, we talk about those little challenges that you faced in your career. You did speak about, you know, taking a job Thursday, Friday, but you also had the project as well. How did you manage, you know, coming out top? Nanyalo, you are a young individual sitting in a big space. How do you manage to make sure that you are heard? It's a boardroom full of grown people. How do you make sure you're at the top of it?
Try to always know your story. My boss always says, meeting, just research. You'd rather say no, I'm not available for this meeting today, my commitments. But just research, know your story, so that when a topic is raised, economy, you stay but you have no idea what's happening. Exactly. So just know your story, have like meaningful contributions, glamour sessions. That's how you grow. Because as you contribute to Mabakuluma, the older generation, that's when they're going to tell you, oh, that's actually, and then they're going to guide you. Nobody wants to guide someone lofuna kudrawa from them, clueless, so just try to know something.
And now we talk about you. You are Smile, you are successful in your own right, but I'm pretty sure that you do have role models as well. It could be people in the financial space or, you know, in your influencer journey. Who are some of your role models, and what work do you hope to pursue in the future, especially in terms of your influencing journey?
Okay, that's very... I think it's a trick. Okay, maybe not. But so I grew up being Mary Jane a lot. And I liked her because she'd dress up. She'd show up independent woman. Show up in my boardroom. She was so independent, and I really liked that about her. So growing up, I looked up to her. But I think with time you then learn, looking so much up to someone is good, but can be bad as well. So what I've resorted to doing is that I see good in you, I see good in someone else, and then I just take the
piece
good
it all
and
together.
And just try to make it work for me. Because as individuals, I think Ville is different. We want different things, and the more you idolize someone, the more udozama and then you let go of what you want.
You know,
so not saying having a role model good, bad or anything, but
now I can tell Guti Mary Jane definitely didn't work out for you, because I mean you're married and she never got married. As we wrap up, can you please just give your last final piece of advice to the young people at home who are looking with nabo financial analyst, financial analyst, what can they do? What can you say to them? They should work hard in school. What subjects should they pick? Or now, science, but yeah, last piece of advice to our young people.
My last piece of advice would be know yourself, know what you stand for, know when to say no. And then when it comes to subjects, just do a lot, so that you have lama options. Okay, I'm dropping this, I'm dropping this, and this is what I'm left with. And then just do the research. There's a lot of things, must figure in the corporate space. so why didn't I do this? It sounds interesting now that I'm grown, okay?
Yeah.
So it's better to just do everything and then drop it as you go. And then if you want to be in the financial analyst space, you better do your accounting, you better do your economics, you better do your corporate finance, and then that's what's going to help you in becoming a financial analyst. But I think kule economy leskuyo, being an influencer as well is like something that you can just tap in, follow that extra cash on the side on weekends as well. So I think I also get a lot of, how did you become an influencer?
That's what I wanted to get into. Which doors do you knock on, basically?
And then all I just say is just post.
Yeah.
Good, influencer. Just post, and then the right people will recognize you. I think how I started being an influencer was being post, and I'd post anything, and then one of the people in my WhatsApp contacts was, I just saw your Facebook post. 1K likes,
yeah.
why are you not monetizing? And I was like, no, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was like, no, just post. Post things that are engaging.
Yes,
Not
of
for my
course.
likes, engage people, and someone will recognize that.
Yeah.
So I think that's when I started like targeting, it's okay, this is the type of people engaging my post. And then I think that worked for me, because then I was approached by one of these big companies, but Stella, could invite her all day. It was not like a big gig,
Yes.
but it was something. So they had a campaign. I was part of that campaign. They did everything, and then we got paid. I didn't even know paid. I was no, you didn't get paid.
Yeah.
I think
Red card at that time.
yeah. So then that's how I started,
Yeah.
and then yeah. So for people just take those pictures, just post. The right people will see it.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Smilwesihle was joining us today to unpack a story. Very beautiful, that is. You know, she said to us, know when to say no, work hard. And of course, if you want to be a brand influencer, remain interactive and engaging. Thank you once again, Smile, for joining us. All right, with that said, we are heading off, but you know what? Please do join us next week, Tuesday at 6:30 as we climb once again. Good night.